What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcasting Master.
That's too high energy for us.
Welcome to Podcasting Master episode 92. 92?
You sound shocked.
Well,
I am shocked. We're saying episode 92, to be honest.
I didn't know how, honestly, I didn't have my notes open, so I'm still at the wrong notes.
You're like Ron Burgundy.
So, yes, episode 92. 92 weeks with you people.
Yeah.
92 weeks.
I'm your host, Joe, and as always, I'm joined by Charlie.
Hey.
Dan.
Yellow.
And Tom.
Welcome to Nipples Demastered, episode of Wrecked.
Yeah, well, we switched up the layout of the table, so I wasn't sure how to...
You could just go
Charlie,
and-
Tom, Dan,
Literally nothing has changed.
Yeah.
You could have just went
Dan
in.
moved over.
I don't know how this is good in
I like
theory,
it.
but I'm not sure how I feel about it yet.
If we were filming it, it would be bad.
Well,
because
yeah,
we'd have
because-
to have like five different angles just to make sure.
Everything
Well,
was
yeah,
same.
there's
My
nothing-
butt crack isn't exposed in the
There's-
camera.
There's
I-
nothing more exciting than watching people sit around a table and talk.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
I enjoy it. That's most of the content I view on
Yeah,
YouTube is
almost
actually just
that.
people sitting around tables.
so
Yeah.
when I have those videos on, I'm not actually viewing them.
Oh,
I
no.
have them on the background
Yeah.
while I'm
Yeah,
doing something.
exactly.
Yeah, that's also true.
It's basically just a podcast on YouTube.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much, and we
Yeah.
do that.
We do that kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're kind of right.
Yeah,
You're
we
right.
don't
We
film
used
the
to do
table.
that.
Yeah,
I mean, some of that is still on YouTube.
yeah. If you want to watch like the older stuff,
Oh, God, please don't.
please don't. But yeah, this is not a
Check out our
YouTube.
YouTube.com/podcastingmaster.
This kind of is the thing we're talking about, though, this
Yeah, it
week.
is.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the
it's
first
weird.
time ever.
Yeah, but this is our weekly video game podcast. Get together, talk about video games we played. Dan, I'm going to start with you.
Oh my god.
What have you played this
Oh
week?
my god, so much pressure.
Dan, why are you caught off guard every time?
Yeah.
No, I don't
we're
know.
You
like-
have to play it cool. You have to lean into it. Like,
Because
today
I
was playing.
I'm never first at anything.
That's true.
Dan, you're first in my heart.
Okay, so I'll what have I been playing?
Of
So
course, ignored.
I got a as I told you guys before, I finally got a new external hard drive for my Xbox. So I can finally like have more than 3 games installed at
Yeah.
once. Which is nice. So I got, this nice Western Digital 2 terabyte hard drive, which is nice. So I'm reinstalling games. Like I started playing Doom again because I had deleted it.
No.
I deleted Doom because I didn't have enough space for it, and new games were coming out, and Joe is just making a mess over there for some reason. It sounds really good, Joe.
Makes me thirsty.
Exactly.
Oh, boy. That's horrendous.
So I've been playing Doom again.
How close to completion are you? Because I know you've probably replayed those levels quite a few
I mean, I've
times now.
replayed it a lot, but there's some secrets that I just don't.
No, you don't know
I
where to
don't get
go.
why it's not unlocked. Like I feel like I got them, but like I don't have the you got that secret.
Yeah.
It's like this is where the map is pointing me to go.
Do you have all the classic levels?
I
I think those count as secrets, so it might
no,
be
no, no,
those.
no, they
classic
do. But I'm
levels.
going. Yeah, they have a hidden Doom level in each.
Yeah.
in each
Oh,
level.
I didn't know. That
I-
might have been
I
the
have,
one
like,
thing I
half of
always
them now.
missed.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you.
Okay,
I'll
I've
show you
never
where some of
seen
them are. No, but I'm going level by level because it has. I have the complete game save where you have you finish the game save, so you can pick any level that you want. And so I'm going through and I'm just going level by level, and I'm also just doing it because I just love playing that game.
Of course,
so,
yeah.
it's one of those games I can just turn on and just play and have fun, even if I don't
Yeah.
give myself any kind of extra objective. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. I'm still slowly but surely going through Final Fantasy 15. I'm honestly taking a lot of time to enjoy the sights in that game because that game
It's
just
a
has
very pretty game.
It is. It has just some really cool set pieces. It even just the just driving around in the car, and even it's you take 4 to 5 minutes and you just watch this car drive down a road and there's just monsters everywhere, and it's just I don't know, it's
Or just
relaxing.
really cool landscapes or visual environmental details like the rocks that kind of form over like a bridge.
Yeah, it's
And
all
then
the
meteor in the
If that
center.
game didn't look as horrid as it does sometimes,
Well, it's very visually uneven, I'd say.
Yeah.
But on PS4, I had very good luck.
Like,
oh,
it
well, I'm
feels like
playing on
they-
Xbox One, so it's clearly
So
the
sorry,
inferior.
let me reiterate that PS4 Pro.
you just snapped something. We left the Xbox on from our stream a couple minutes ago, and the Xbox has just responded.
Yeah.
to
Oh,
something you said.
it's oh boy. But see, I'm kind of dancing around the game that I've played the most this week, which is the obvious Civilization 6,
Oh, dear
which I
God.
added.
Going on with that?
I believe I added another 8 to 9, possibly 10 hours in that this past week. I had gotten basically because the win conditions, one of them is a science victory, and in this game, it's you have to go on a space mission. You have to be able to send 3 different individual space missions to make Mars habitable and like send people to like you have to basically start a colony on Mars.
That's a cool end goal.
Yeah, and like most of the other games, it was usually just be the first one to get into space and you win. But this one, there's 3 separate space missions you have to basically create in order to make Mars habitable, and the end one is like to send people to Mars.
So in Civ, do you have one core progression, or is it every time you start, you're starting a new campaign that you're then playing for like
It's-
2 or 3 hours?
Almost think of it like a board game, because that's kind of what Civ is inspired by.
Yeah.
Is it's a board game, so it's you just play a game where you pick what Civ you want. And then you choose things like your difficulty, what type of map you want, because the maps are all procedurally generated; they're all random. And then you choose how big you want it to be. So how many players is it going to house? And so
are you always playing against other people?
yes,
or?
you're never. You can like make alliances and stuff, but you're always trying to win yourself.
Oh, I thought you were always playing like unless you were online specifically, you were playing against the computer.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I'm always playing against the computer because I don't want to spend 8 hours with people that I don't know.
Okay, I thought it was always online.
I would only play that game online with people that I know. And like where we can stop and save and like leave it for later, because I'm not doing that with like strangers, because again, I don't want to these games last 9-10 hours of time, like
that's a little
for each
too
one.
long.
Yeah.
And I that's why I have a story to one where I was playing as the Japanese, and I was going for a science victory, and I had launched the first space mission. I had launched the second space mission, and everyone was kind of mad at me because I was being very aggressive in the beginning, and I was like taking over some small cities, and people were like, "Hey, we don't like that." And you get penalties if you're like really aggressive for no reason. You can actually unlock reasons to start wars. Like if someone spreads their religion to you, you can start a holy war where like you won't get penalized as much.
Okay.
Because it's like, oh, he had a reason to start that war.
Sure.
But if I just like send some tanks into someone who's completely innocent like town, like people get pissed at you, like everybody
Of
gets
course.
mad at you.
But that's how you become
I would.
the world leader.
Well, that's the thing is, you can take over with an iron fist, but it's harder because everybody's going to turn against you. But if someone starts fucking with your shit, you can create excuses to start wars with
Of
them, and
course,
people
yeah.
won't get mad.
It doesn't even feel like it would be an excuse because they're fucking with your shit.
Well, yeah, if they're fucking with
Exactly.
your shit, they give you a good reason. But I'm playing as Japan, and I'm trying to go for the science victory. And what happens is if none of the win conditions are met by by turn 500, then they take a
Dear
score.
God.
They take a score, and whoever has the highest score, and scores based on like the content of your cities, how many wonders you've built, your army, all these different things, and like technologies you've researched, and they accumulate into a point system. And by the 500 turn, whoever has the most points wins. If none of the other conditions were met. So I'm on turn like 485, and I have about 4 turns left before I launch the final space mission to win a science victory as Japan. And 1 turn before that, America wins a culture victory. And I was
I'm shocked.
so angry.
I'm shocked.
No, because like I wasn't paying attention to my culture at all. Like if I had even
I bet you weren't.
well,
You
that's the thing.
uncultured
I
swine.
I was putting so much effort into like all my science stuff that had I put even like a little bit of effort into tourism and culture, I could have prevented them from winning because they would have to have dealt with me culturally.
Okay.
And I didn't do that. So I was really easy to deal with culturally because I didn't put a lot of work into culture. So I was 1 turn away from, and none of my saves were like far back enough where I could have really done anything to
Yeah.
reverse it.
You were just playing with computers?
Yeah, and it won, and like literally a turn because what happens is when you lose, like a little like cinematic comes up, and Sean Bean kind of
Yeah.
talks to you, and he's like, our civilization as it once started has now returned to dust. And I'm like, wait, how is that a science victory? Because I thought the turn was about to turn over to my turn
Yeah.
where I was gonna win, and it's like you have lost or something like that, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then it's like America has won a culture victory. I'm like, and it tells you how much time, and it was like 9.5 hours
God
of a
damn.
game, and I lost 1 turn away from
Oh my
winning.
god,
That is so sad.
Then I immediately started another game and finished it in 1 sitting where I played as Russia and I won a religious victory.
How
How long did that one take?
That was religion actually is probably, if you are smart, you can get that really fast. That was about 6 hours.
How like complicated is Civ to play? Because I always think Civ looks interesting, but then I look at a lot of the UI stuff and it
Yeah,
just
that
looks
always throws
It
me
looks.
off.
I will say
very.
Civ 6.
It looks very like there's a lot going on there, and it's a lot to kind of
Civ
process.
6, they need a little work on the UI. It's a little cluttered at times and in certain places, and I think that's something they can fix. Because I know within the next year that game's going to get its first big expansion.
Yeah.
Like they always get them pretty soon after because they get all this feedback of like this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, and there's the Civ fans are kind of torn between 6. There's some people like myself who love Civ 6. There's some people who are like this game is trash.
I've seen mostly like because I've watched a lot of Game of the Year stuff, and that game has been on almost every.
It's
Game
been
of
on
the
a
Year
lot
list
of, but
I've
I'm
seen.
talking like hardcore Civ fans, like people who are like Civ 4 and Civ 2 are the best. You know, it's like
Yeah,
people were like thought Civ 5 was trash, and I love Civ 5. But no, that game is still. I mean, it is a time vortex.
Yeah.
you'll sit down. I mean, and it was the same thing with 5. I'd be like, be 7 o'clock in the afternoon or 7 o'clock at night, and I'll be like, I'll start a game of Civ, play 7 o'clock in the
You're
afternoon.
gonna walk 150 miles to the next country.
No, so I start
That's a deep cut.
it'll be like 700 700. You just messed me up now. It'll be 7 o'clock at night, and I'll be like, I'll start a real quick game, play a few hours, and then I'll stop. And then like I'll realize it's like 3 a.m, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh god. But yeah, other than that, there's not a whole lot I can talk about other than what I've been doing because Civ is just so
That's sucked up.
it's just taken
Well,
up
right there,
so
you
much
just
of
said
my
time-
15
a
hours of
time
your life
vampire.
went to 2 Civ
Yeah.
games. So
Sid Meier is a time vampire.
Well, I have almost 200 hours clocked in on Civ 5, and
Dear
then
God.
I have
you-
I'm coming up on 35 hours on Civ 6.
Did you ever play Sid Meier's Pirates? Remember that came out
Yeah.
a few years ago?
Yeah, that was a fun game.
Wonder if we'll do another one of those.
He's probably just gonna stick with Civ because that's like the moneymaker.
I know. Be like we talked about it a little, but Beyond Earth was met with like
it was mixed.
tepidly.
Yeah.
They said once the first expansion came out that it fixed a lot of the problems, and that's typically a very Civ thing. Is
Mhm.
it'll be launched with a lot of issues that people don't like. They'll put out an expansion that fixes everything. Civ 5 was the biggest example of that.
gotcha.
It took until the Brave New World expansion pack came out for that to that game to like really shine. People hated it Civ 5 when it first came out. So that's all I've been playing. So next on the
I'll be
list.
quick this week because I only played. Well, I still,
I saw you playing fucking Rocket League.
Well, yeah,
and
of
some
course.
clicker game.
Time clickers.
Yep.
Time clickers, the best clicker I've ever
Joe,
played.
how many clickers has it been in the past like month? I feel like there's been a lot.
No, I've only tried the 2. I did Clicker Heroes, which is something I played in the past, which I enjoyed, and then I've been looking for this one because Jeff Gertzman from Giant Bomb talked about it a long time ago, and he's a fellow clicker lover, as we call ourselves. No, and he talked about this one, and I couldn't remember the name of it. Didn't feel like going back around and like looking up like the what the name was. One day I opened Steam, it's like first recommended game Time Clickers. I'm like, that's it, because I saw him stream it once.
Okay.
Hands down, the best clicker I've ever played.
That is
So-
actually
so
a
wait,
sentence
what-
that should not ever
What
exist.
bar is that being compared to?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it just the leveling up system is really fun.
Like I thought like Adventure Capitalist
No,
was
that's-
solid,
that's-
but I don't know if
Is
there's
that
like
game actually called Venture or Adventure?
Adventure
I
Capital.
don't know if there's like a quality bar for clickers
Compared to Adventure Capitalist is some weak sauce.
Is it trash tier?
No, it's not trash tier. It's all right.
How's it compared to Cookie Clicker?
I never played Cookie Clicker. That was before
Lemonade
I found
Sam.
my love. Never played that one.
What about Tap Titan?
Haven't
I
downloaded that
love
yet. I've been
Tap
meaning
Titan
to.
2. I play that every day on my
Yeah.
phone because it has a little calendar, and if you don't miss that day, it starts back from
Yeah.
0, and you might not get your 50 diamonds. You might get like 200
This is the
Oh,
casual
no.
gamer podcast right here.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. I just want to say, Game of the Year 2017.
No, definitely for sure.
Don't be shocked.
That game did
if
not
makes
come
my
out in
list.
2017.
I know. I don't care. It's mine. It's
Okay,
my list.
Good to know.
Rocket League, and I still played a little bit of Watch Dogs 2. I actually planned on playing a lot more of Watch Dogs 2. I was like, I'll make this the one game I'm going to talk about next week.
That's what I said about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And I got completely sidetracked.
So did I. Not that I'm like, every time I load up Watch Dogs 2, I'm enjoying my time with it. I still stand by. It's a very good game. It's just I get distracted or
I think it's just that time of year because I've been doing the same thing where you
Yeah.
look at the collection, you start something, and then you're like, I don't know if this is what I'm on to
and,
right
and
now.
like my collection's not even that big. Like my Steam library consists
No,
of
it's
like
definitely not that big.
Clickers, Rocket League, damn right. Clickers, Rocket League, and fucking like 3 games I want to play, but 2 of which I haven't started yet, and then there's Watch Dogs. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. I don't know. A lot going on. Started watching the OA though. Very
What
fucking,
is that?
very fucking weird show. It's Netflix's new show. Kind of dropped, I think.
What's
What
it
does
about?
it do?
It's about this girl who went missing 7 years ago.
Okay.
She mysteriously shows back up, but before she went missing, she was blind, and now she can see again.
Of course.
And it's basically takes place in 2 time periods. One in the past where she's telling the story to 5 other people. She's telling her life story
Okay.
and how the events led to how she got blind because she wasn't always blind,
Sure.
and like what happened to her in those 7 years that caused her to be unblind. Unblind.
Unblind.
That's
Unblind.
That's
To
a Joe Laugh
have
sentence.
sight again.
And then the other half is like the other part of the show is like her like when she's not telling those people the story, like her trying to like find her friend that she met in the,
What you
in
just
the period.
described to me is Quantum Break
Yeah, except no time travel.
and
no,
blind people.
and no Beth Wilder.
Yeah, no Beth Wilder. No, it's really
Damn
interesting
shame.
so far. It's really weird. Like, but also at the same time, I don't know if I would like fully recommend everyone go watch it. I think
Yeah.
I would recommend watching the pilot. If you're not interested in that whatsoever, then just turn away right
If
there.
it's on Netflix, I'll probably
Yeah.
just click on it.
But yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
That's good.
I'm enjoying it. Charlie, what did you play?
I have been spending copious amounts of time playing Horde mode on Gears 4.
Mhm.
I don't even know how that started again. Because I mentioned it maybe last week or 2 weeks before. I brought my Xbox over to a friend's house, and they all really like Gears, and I think I loaded it up there, and that might have accidentally like sparked me.
Yeah, like flip
Yeah.
the switch in your head.
Yeah, and like so now I have been. There were a couple days where like I'd start at 1 in the afternoon, and I would be done at like 1 in the morning. That I love the aspect of the engineer, and I just and any class really. I love the aspect of me doing my part and propelling the team to wave 50. Like leveling my class and then leveling my cards is a ton of fun. Like I can't believe how much shit I gave that and
Yeah, I
didn't
remember
really
you. I think we named a whole
because
episode after it.
We totally did. And I didn't get cards, and I still think there's a much more clever metaphor to be had. Like, just kind of show me a fucking tree and let me put points into it or something. I don't need cards, although I
Cards
totally
are the
get
new
the
thing.
need for like the exhilarating, oh my god, I
But
bought a
Charlie,
pack, I bought
you
a
open
pack.
up, you open up the foil pack.
Yes. Well, I mean, in Gears, it's like a crate, and the crate opens, and like it
And-
plays a cute little animation, whatever. And that doesn't. I guess I must not have the gambling gene
That
in
animation is so important. That whole system, by the way.
me. Is it really?
Because if that animation, like same thing with Overwatch or any other card system, if that animation isn't like doesn't satiate that
Stimulate-
itch
Doesn't have a
Yeah.
punch.
of getting of uncovering your new thing.
Well, that's like,
it just doesn't work.
That's like Hearthstone.
Yeah,
and each time they
Hearthstone
put out
does
a
it
new
great.
Hearthstone expansion, like new packs, they always have like really cool animations for like it opening the pack.
See, that doesn't matter to me. I'm like smashing Y, like open all. I don't give a fuck. Let me see if I got anything that's even relevant to being an engineer, because I'm just trying to level that up to 10. I'm almost at level 9, and that took so much time. And I think my favorite part about playing Horde is plugging in the headset and finding 4 other dudes who are like, I'm gonna do my part, you're gonna support me, and we're all gonna make sure that everything is up and running, and discussion, and just finding people who also miss the days of old where it's like everybody always had a headset on and everyone was always talking,
yeah.
regardless of if it was like, your fucking dick's smaller, I need more help over here, or like,
I fucked your mom.
yeah, like, you know. So yeah, Horde's cool. If you like video games, you should try it, I guess. Paper Mario is another video game I'm still playing. And I'm still trying to play through Mass Effect 2, or the first one, I'm sorry, because I want to play Mass Effect 2, because that's actually a good game.
Mhm.
And
That's a great game.
and I just can't like force myself to sit there and play through the first game because it's just slow.
How far are you
I'm
into
almost
the
in the
first one?
exact same boat.
I have like 2 more things to do,
Dude,
like 2
even
more big things. Like
just-
I have to do Vermeer and I have to do Varia.
Charlie, you could totally just like turn that shit all the way down to easy and just bull rush the story shit you need to do.
I
Because
could.
I've literally beaten that game, all the story content, when I was doing New Game Plus runs on Xbox 360. I've beaten that game in a day before. You
Yeah,
can do it with just doing the story
I
stuff.
used to be a Mass Effect 1 truther.
That
But after
game
my
is,
last
like,
time of trying to go through it, like I still love Mass Effect 1, but it's
it's
a
built
tough one
built
now.
like shit. Like it's
yeah, it's a real
but
tough
it's a
one.
good
it's
shit
a
brick
shit
house.
game wrapped around a fantastic story and development.
Here's-
Like that's exactly what
Like
it
I
is.
still recommend if you're playing through it for the first time to play through 1.
The thing about
Yeah,
1 though,
but-
and the thing that I love about 1 more so than 2 and 3 is that 1 had the scope and the scale that 2 and 3 lacked, and that's what
And-
made it so exciting
yeah.
and interesting for me.
Yeah, I mean, you're
If
not
you're going
wrong.
for a replay,
Like
I'm just jumping
1
into,
feels
though.
like a fucking
Yeah,
space opera, while 2 and 3 feel like these condensed, like almost feel like they're paced more like TV shows. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I mean, I fell so much more for 2 than any other of the 3. 1, it's just such a you really have to make yourself if you're playing that today, and if you're playing it for the first time, you're really gonna have to make yourself like you're really gonna have to want to play that game all the way through.
Yeah, and I think it's just the satisfaction of carrying everything over from the first
Exactly.
game. Like that's what's keeping me going with the first game. I didn't even mention it because I really haven't played it that much this week. But I'm also going through Mass Effect 1 because I have the whole trilogy disc collection on 360. So since you can only play 2 and 3, I think if you have them on disc, I believe is the thing.
Or
they're
EA access.
Yeah,
No,
EA access.
Yeah.
You can what?
Digitally.
You can
If
download
have
it
EA
if you have EA
yeah.
access.
Oh, if you have EA access.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I have them on disc, so I know I can play them. And yeah, it's like the only thing that's keeping me going is like as I'm playing as FemShep for the first time. I never did a FemShep run, and I'm doing Renegade, so I did complete polar opposite of what I did when I first played it through the series.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's keeping me going is the idea that I'm going to be transferring my story and like the character that I created over to the next game,
Yeah.
and then to the next game after that. And that's like, I think that's such a cool idea, and I wish there was a lot of more series that did that.
For sure.
Because like Dragon Age kind of does that, but like
And
to
if
the
you keep
extent
your
that
Mass
Mass
Effect 2
Effect did.
save, you can import it into Frog Fractions 2.
That's true.
Okay.
There is an option
Oh,
to
yeah,
import
you
your
You can
Mass
Mass
Effect
actually
Effect.
do that. That is a real thing.
and it does a thing.
That's pretty crazy.
I don't know. Like for me, like Mass Effect 1, like that game means so much. Where I like playing that game, not just to bull rush it through to get to Mass Effect 2, because I think I like the first game a little bit better. I like it because I like all the character interactions and I like the story moments. Like I love all the shit with the Rachni Queen and that whole
Yeah.
thing on Novaria. Like
That's exactly
That-
what I'm doing now.
I understand that it hasn't aged well. I totally get that. And I wouldn't expect someone playing it for the first time in 2016 to pick it up and say, this feels great.
Yeah. I
Because
don't even think that it hasn't
because it
aged well
doesn't.
is its worst problem though.
Because it doesn't. But I also think I like Mass Effect 1 can go back to it in the same way that people like Final Fantasy 7 and can go back to it. Yeah, there's some fucking jank, but like
I think 7 is a great game though. Like it's not even built bad.
no, it's not, but it's definitely like it's aged and you can tell like it's limited by its age.
Yeah, but you see, I think Mass Effect suffers from a totally different problem than that. Because there have been games that looked better and played better.
Oh, I agree.
I just think they fucked up making that game or something. Who knows?
Yeah, well, Mass Effect was still kind of caught in that because that was BioWare. I mean, like coming off of like KOTOR and like Jade Empire, but coming off of that Infinity Engine stuff they were doing on PC, that was kind of like the last bastion of that before they went more towards like being just third-person shooters.
Yeah. I also think the later games used Unreal. Or they
it used Unreal, but like the ideas that they had when they were developing games on the Infinity Engine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that all for you, Charlie?
Yeah, fuck video games.
Yeah, they're
fuck
terrible.
video games.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you play this
I'm
week?
taking up art.
Okay, cool.
Fuck art. I'm back.
I'm taking up guns.
I'm back to video games.
Robbing
Sweet.
banks.
I've just been playing a lot of old shit, man. A lot of old video games, and like old in layman's terms. I never spoke about it.
But it's a serious problem, and I
But
need help.
I beat The Last Guardian, and I beat this like 2 weeks ago,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I
you
never
you
actually
never did.
talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Shows how
game
impactful it
overall
was.
has a ton of issues, a ton of control problems, a ton of quality of life issues.
Now wait,
that-
just think about it. You are describing Mass Effect. That's all I had to say.
that make it tough to play. But the amazing moments in that game, the moments where you finish a puzzle area and Trico gets out into the open and you're riding on his back while he's jumping through these ruins that are crumbling on top and you get the music swelling up. For all the shitty moments you go through, those moments fucking shine and make everything worth it. And that's what I felt about the end of the game, because some really cool shit goes down at the end of the game. And the things it makes you feel make everything you went through in the whole experience worth it. You know what I mean? Like that game I'm not saying the problems it has are justified, but I'm saying like the things that game does well, it does exceptionally well. I talked about the Final Fantasy 15 Platinum. So even when I got the Platinum, I was a little disappointed in that Platinum because it was easy. There's a lot of other stuff to do in that game and stuff that should have had trophies attached to it, like getting all the legendary weapons. So I went back and I just got all the legendary weapons, which is a really cool chain of side quests that involve you fighting these very high level end game like legendary bosses. And the last one they have you fight is level 120. Now your level cap in the game is level 99. I want to say I was like level 87 when I fought it.
Okay. I was about to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Noctis was 87. Then the other party members were around 82. Because for some reason, like I'm at a point where he just levels up faster.
There's certain points where like he gets separated.
Yeah.
And like he'll level up and they don't.
But that fight was definitely hard. I've actually, for the most part, my party would just get one-shotted, so I just kept them dead. I didn't even bother reviving them after a certain point because it was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Spam the warp button after like, it probably took me maybe a little less time to beat that than it did to beat Adamantoise. That's just because Adamantoise was such a sponge.
Well, that's the turtle thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanna make sure people-
So it took me like around 45 minutes, like to 50 minutes to beat it. Where
Okay.
Adamantoise was at like an hour.
Okay.
But yeah, then I got, the best weapon in the game, which is a shame now because I've done all the stuff. So unless I go into New Game Plus, there's kind of no big cool bosses to use it
Now,
on
is the
now.
New Game Plus update in there yet, or
It's in there.
it's
yeah.
in there? Okay, that's cool.
I'll probably do it eventually. But for right now, there's one more hidden dungeon I'm doing, and the way you get to this hidden dungeon is very like you wouldn't think to look in this area, but if you go like kind of towards the volcano and you have the Regalia Type F, that's the flying car.
Mhm.
There's a little patch of road you can land on, like this tiny little airstrip patch of road that 9 times out of 10 you try to land on, you're gonna crash your car. So I finally managed to land at a little patch of road, get into this secret area, and then there's a dungeon there, but you have to wait until night for the dungeon to open. And that's the last point where I saved that. I'm just waiting at the door basically for nighttime to come for this dungeon to open up. And that'll probably be the last major thing I do before I start New Game Plus. But I've also had like just an open world RPG itch I've needed to scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that open world RPGs are kind of like my go-to genre. Like when I don't know what I feel like playing, that's what I can kind of default to. So I got a really good deal on Skyrim Special Edition, like $20 or so for a PS4. So I ended up just buying that again. And no, I'm not using mods because the mod support is significantly weaker on PS4.
Yeah, on PS4.
But
Wait,
also,
wait, there is mods on PS4? I
Yeah.
thought there
Yeah.
wasn't.
yeah, but it's
Bethesda could have
not
shrunk
They have
more.
a limit, like two gigs on.
not
PS
even
to
like less than
really-
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's dumb.
Significantly smaller. On PS4, they can't have mods that use outside assets. So there's a lot
Oh.
less they can do with them than I could do on Xbox. So I didn't even bother with it. Plus trophies. That's the other thing.
Exactly.
Like I care
yeah.
more about trophies than I do about achievements. So that's why, I wanted to have those on. I talked about Skyrim Special Edition before. That game is great looking, but the one thing I'm doing this time playing Skyrim that I've never really done before is I'm reading everything. I never really read through all the books you got, but there are just pages upon pages upon pages of fucking lore that they give you, and it's really, really interesting stuff. Like I just read a whole thing about like basically like it was a book on sneaking, but it was wrapped in a 20-page. Like you open the book and you got the experience, but it was wrapped in a 20-page like novel about this general who snuck up the side of a mountain and like found a secret lake base and like snuck in and like single-handedly won a war and became Tiber Septim. It's
crazy.
some really like the Elder Scrolls lore is fucking cool.
Did you read the Lusty Argonian Maid?
Oh, God.
No.
What is wrong
Did you
with
read
you?
all whatever how many volumes of that there are?
No, but I did find one that was neat, which was about like a thief who had a brother and he ran away from his home, whatever, and like ended up breaking into like a castle, and it turned out to be his brother's castle. Like Bethesda really fucking gives a shit about and I guess this stuff was in Oblivion too, but I always ignored it.
And Morrowind too.
Yeah, like it's awesome. There's so much there. And I was looking online. There's actually a book that has like these stories in it. And I almost considered buying it because like it's really good stuff they've written. Like they have some really talented writers over there.
Yeah, I'm one of the people. As soon as it pops up on the screen, I'm like, all right, get the fuck over.
But I've been really like Skyrim's, outside of Final Fantasy 15 has been the one thing I wanted to play. What I've been doing is I've been popping up Awesome Games Done Quick on my phone, have it on my table, and then I just have Skyrim going, and I've been watching that and playing Skyrim, and I'm at the point now where I'm doing the companion line because I've never done the companion line before. So I just got werewolfism. I now have the ability to turn into a werewolf, which is kind of cool. I'm actually playing as a female character this time. And typically in Skyrim, I play as a male, but I find that the female character models actually look way better than the male character models. The male character models outside of the, like all the humanoid ones. So like outside of the lizard people and the Khajiit, were the lizard people again?
Argonians.
The
lusty Argonian maid.
Forget that.
Outside of the Argonians and the Khajiit, like all the male character models have this horrible oatmeal face going on, and like I looked at the presets, and you can't really do anything to fix that. So I'm playing as a female Breton, and the character model looks amazing. And I found that a lot of the female characters look great. Now, the only problem is a lot of the armors were meant for male character models, so they don't look good on the female character models, except for like a handful.
Safe character models like 30 times fast.
Character models.
But
yeah, a lot of the male, like a lot of the armors that they built, like were meant for the male character model, so they don't look nearly as good as the female one or on the female one. So I found a few that look good in her, and I'm just going through the companion stuff. I'm probably going to do the College of Winterhold stuff after this, but really my game time has been devoted to Skyrim and Awesome Games Done Quick, and Awesome Games Done Quick, like it is every year, has been awesome to watch. Last night I watched the Metal Gear Solid 2 speed run. I think they did it in like 2 hours. They did it on European Extreme.
Crazy.
And do you know the one boss fight in 2 where you have to fight like multiple Metal Gear Rays?
Yeah, that's at the very end. That's like the very end.
In European Extreme, you have to fight 20 of them.
Wow.
Oh, that's fun.
It's fucking crazy. You had to see like this guy, like he couldn't take any damage, otherwise it would fuck up his whole run.
That's crazy.
They're doing crazy shit. But yeah,
Dedication.
It's been a lot of fun to watch, even just to have on in the background, just see some like cool, weird games they're playing that I didn't even know existed.
My question is, did you watch the podcast you mastered, Super Meat Boy speed run that I just did?
You mean officially sponsored by Games Done Quick?
Yeah, they hosted our channel.
They hosted our channel
minutes.
where I was.
That didn't. None of this.
I don't
is
think
true.
that happened.
None of this is
No,
true.
you guys were all
People
sitting
donated
around.
so much money they cured cancer.
Exactly. I mean, my Super Meat Boy speed run that I just did
anymore.
saved a lot of lives. And listen, I don't want to consider myself a hero, though I am. But
Sure.
I'm glad we came to that.
Yeah,
conclusion.
I mean, people have been saying it for 5-6 years now. Skyrim's a pretty good game. I want another Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
I want Elder Scrolls 6.
I think
Give me Elder Scrolls
My
6.
Or Elder
favorite
Scrolls
thing
Travels.
is every once in a while pops up on my timeline like Elder Scrolls 6 trailer just came out, and it's like clearly the Skyrim logo,
Yeah.
but it just is like altered to have like branches and stuff.
yeah,
on it.
leaves
Like,
because it's Valenwood.
Yeah, Valenwood. That's what I always
That's
say.
for the
Do you think
what
it's
else?
going to be Valenwood, or do you think it's going to be the place where the Red Guards?
Honestly,
Some nerd
I really think that they might take a page out of Elder Scrolls Online, and they might do a whole Tamriel.
I don't think I'd want that, because the thing I always like about the Elder Scrolls core series is that they focus on one area and just flesh the fuck out of it.
I would like a
I
Morrowind
want to
too.
see them do that.
I want to see them. I want to see back to Morrowind.
Well, Morrow Oblivion?
Well,
if that game
Morrowind?
doesn't open with some character model just going,
Oh, Skywyn.
we have to go back.
Oh, Skywyn.
Well,
so
Skywyn was just a Morrowind redone in the engine.
I mean,
for,
that's essentially what they.
no,
what
but
you
I
get,
mean,
though.
like, I want like Morrowind too. I want like another one, or
Another story set in that location.
because Morrowind was such a cool, weird location. Because then you go to like, and I love Oblivion, but like Cyrodiil
We
is so
gotta-
vanilla.
We gotta cut the nerd shit like soon. I'm just saying we're just running low on time.
Anyway, I think Elder Scrolls 6 probably won't be for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know it's a
definitely
shame.
not.
Hopefully sooner than later. But yeah,
Well, let's
Joe.
take a quick break then. We'll be right back with some news. We actually have news this week for like the
a
first
lot of
time in
news,
like 3 months, it feels like. And then we're going to talk about what we're looking forward to in 2017. So we'll be right back. Hey guys, it's your host Joe. Thanks for checking out the show this week. If you haven't already, head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. We love to hear from you. Send an email to podcastdemastered@gmail.com with any comments or questions. We may even discuss your email live on the show. To stay up to date, follow us on Twitter @DemasterCast. For our live streams, you can go to twitch.tv/podcastdemastered. And lastly, our video content can be found at youtube.com/podcastdemastered show. Now, let's get back to the show. All right, and welcome back.
Wow.
We got breaking news. Actually, it's not breaking by the time you guys hear this. It's going to be a few days late. Remember that hit popular, people were pretty excited for Scalebound?
Yeah, that super cool headphone dragon game.
Yeah, Scalebound.
Yeah, Scalebound.
Headphone dragon
It looked
game.
cool, right?
Yeah, Drake in it.
Yeah, kill that idea. The game is dead.
It was dead.
Oh boy.
Actually, yes. Earlier today, we're talking about Monday because that's when we record. Kotaku's Jason Schreier was basically tweeting out that he's heard, and many other people were tweeting out saying they've heard this back since like late December, that this was a thing that Scalebound was going to be canceled. And of course, that started my favorite thing was Jason Schreier just going, like, looking at his mentions where everyone's just blaming him for canceling the game.
Yeah.
Because people can't, separate the two. That
No, not at all.
every time
You canceled my game.
Why
yeah,
should they?
It's hysterical. I love it every single
You
time.
delayed my game.
So he
You ruined No Man's Sky.
he reported on that, and a few hours later, Microsoft was finally confirmed the news that Scalebound is canceled, and they released a quote which was kind of weird. After careful deliberation, Microsoft Studios has come to the decision to end production for Scalebound. We're working hard to deliver an amazing lineup of games to our fans this year, including Halo Wars 2, Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, and
Halo
other
Wars
great
2?
experiences.
No, but Crackdown 3, I would.
I was gonna say Halo
But
Wars 2
now-
is like
how fucking like they're like so, you can get all these other great Microsoft
Yeah.
exclusives.
And also, there was a report going that they're wiping Scalebound off of everything they've do.
Yeah.
You can't look it up on their website, on their YouTube channel. They're taking out all the trailers.
They're probably fucking embarrassed. Well, to be honest, they kind of should be. A cancellation on this scale in recent years is kind of
it was
unprecedented.
bound to be bad.
this scale might have
No, I
been
mean,
bound.
like, we haven't had a cancellation like this of a game that's been shown at multiple trade events as something that's been multiple, featured
Since
heavily.
Fable Legends.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And that was last year. That was last year around.
Not that long
month
after
from
this.
now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
From everything I've read, the reason behind this cancellation has really been the studio, apparently Platinum, missed one deadline that pushed everything else back, and a lot of the senior producers took time off because the crunch that they were going through, the constant crunch, was kind of a lot on them.
Mhm.
Hideki Kamiya took a lot of time off for mental health issues, basically because of this game. This game really fucked that company up. And eventually, I don't even think it was a Microsoft thing. I think it may have just been a Platinum thing, and then they were able to talk to Microsoft. They decided they can't do it in a timely manner.
Like, I can imagine, Microsoft also being a little pissed off because
Oh, yeah,
they
I'd
went to these
imagine.
guys years ago. I think it was shown off in 2014.
Yeah.
So you got to assume they're working on it for a year prior to that. Like, this has been in development for a long time, and to have it spend that money and have it just come up completely empty-handed might be
kind of sucks.
But you also have to imagine it would have. I can't imagine this game would have sold well
No,
to the
no.
Xbox audience.
Yeah.
Like, I know this gets said all the time, about how Japanese games don't. And now this, I'm not trying to be broad, be like Xbox games only like the shootmans and the
Yeah.
drive and the drive
like the shooty games.
and the drive cars and the sports. But
the sports.
typically on Xbox, the market does lean a little more towards in that direction. Typically stays away from more Japanese oriented games. I don't think this game would have recouped its costs had it been released. I think it would have been a Recore situation where I can guarantee you Recore probably didn't recoup
Oh,
its
no.
development costs. This probably had it come out anyway. It sucks. The game, I thought the game looked really neat. I think it would have been a write-off for Microsoft. But I mean, I hope I love Platinum Games, so I wish the best to Hideki Kamiya and their team. I hope they're able to get back on the horse, and I have very high hopes for Nier Automata. So I think that studio's in all right shape.
Thing that I would hope is that the assets from this get sort of taken down and maybe put into something else, or might. Because that's a common thing where, they had so much of this game built already.
Microsoft has access to all the stuff. It could get reworked.
They
into
could
something
take
else.
everything they worked on. Look at what, Overwatch is the creation of something that was canceled,
Yeah, it depends who
But at the
owns
same time,
what
I
and
feel
how they work
it
out together.
may be damaged goods because Blizzard was never, or Titan was never publicly shown off. That's the difference. Here, we've seen this thing at multiple trade shows. So I feel taking the reuse assets from this, which they absolutely could, might be not necessarily in poor taste, but damaged goods. It
Well, I
might
don't know.
harm it
They
more than
could
it
they
might
could
help
create
it.
a completely different kind of game, but maybe keep some of the models or keep some of the areas that they had
But
worked
that's where
on.
you get-
Maybe stuff that they hadn't shown
then
yet.
you would have to have those two work together because you can't have now Platinum going to make another game and then use direct assets that they were funded from Microsoft for making.
Well, I think
With a
Microsoft
Sony-
is
No, I'm
the
saying
ones able to
with a
use
if
those.
Microsoft-
I think Microsoft owns the IP.
If
so-
Microsoft, since Microsoft probably owns the Scalebound IP, they probably have access to all that stuff that they had made since it was the game that they had funded. I mean, look, I don't know all the logistics. I don't know how all this stuff works.
I just think that's far fetched. I think I would imagine that neither of them are
I think-
happy with each other.
I'm just
and they're
curious
probably
how,
not working
you know,
with each
like,
other right now.
do they just take everything they worked on and just hit the delete button
mean,
and
they
that's
put
it?
it in a folder, they zip up the folder, and then it's on to the next.
I mean, there's not a whole lot else to say about the second part to
Yeah.
this, but like Platinum's had a little bit of a rough couple days. Like their Ninja Turtles game got taken off the
But
marketplace
yeah, we can talk
after
about
like
that right now too. Yeah,
after like only a year out, which is kind of crazy. Which also gives credence to the fact that Activision probably gave them pennies to work with and said, "Put this game out in a year, so before we lose the license," kind of like they did with Tony Hawk
Yes.
or Transformers. So, yeah, they've had it's been a rough patch for them, but I think more so than
I feel like Platinum's had a weird run this
They haven't-
generation.
no. Here's the thing: they haven't. I think Transformers is fine,
Transformers,
but
is
they
fine.
haven't had a fucking ace out of the park thing since Bayonetta 2, and that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was what 2014.
End of
2014.
2014.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
I don't feel like that's that long ago.
Yeah,
Well, for the
but
amount
like, it
of
could be
but
worse.
It could be worse, but think
for-
about for the amount of
and,
games
and
they've
up
been
until that
putting out.
point,
Yeah,
they were
that's
putting
true,
out
fair.
like a high quality of very
Yeah.
good games.
Like I think since then they've done TMNT, Transformers, Korra,
Star Fox.
Star Fox game. They had this in development. They have Nier coming out, which does look cool.
I think
Like-
Nier, might be the saving grace.
Nier looks cool. And then I feel like there was something else, but maybe I'm wrong. Star Fox was an abomination. Everyone did not like that game.
Turtles was bad.
Turtles was
Transformers was
bad.
okay.
Transformers was like okay to all right. And then Korra was also torn apart.
Yeah.
So I mean, like when you look at the amount of games they've released since Bayonetta 2, like that's where people start looking at it. And then to have like studio problems with this game where this game's not coming out and now it's canceled. So
We'll see. I hope they recuperate. But I think another part, and I want to mention this really quick to the Scalebound thing. I think Microsoft first party studios is in a little bit of a rut. And I think they need
I was gonna bring
to
this up.
they need to either be more clear with their audience about what's happening, what's going on. But at the time of this recording, like they've canceled what was it called? Or they've canceled Phantom Dust. They've canceled Fable Legends. Project Spark got taken offline. Now Scalebound. And Shinobi, like he's a guy on NeoGAF. He's in the know. He knows these things. He's an insider.
Yeah, he is.
He had thrown in, like when he was talking about this in the thread, that Crackdown 3 is also apparently in a lot of trouble.
Huh,
Apparently not as much trouble as this.
Yeah.
if
but
that
it's still
comes
going
to
through
light,
problems.
it will be interesting.
Yeah, so you have to wonder what the fuck is going on over there. I think it could be like a higher up thing, like higher up at Microsoft. They're seeing these numbers that the Xbox isn't necessarily pulling in like from these core franchises what it used to during the 360 era, and it's scaring them. And they saw the sales of ReCore, and it's scaring them away from these kind of more risky titles.
Now, I do want to say Shinobi was retweeting someone. He's an analyst. He tracks digital numbers for games and stuff. And this is a series of 3 tweets, and this is a full quote from him. My take on all this, and I've been seeing this for a while, is that Microsoft is transitioning all their games to the live service model. Basically, Microsoft wants to have their games emulate what Minecraft has been able to do. Long life cycle, larger user base, increased spend. Microsoft's future direction is about being able to offer the Xbox games and live services on multiple devices, then run Windows 10.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of sucks that we're going to see less of a focus, presumably less of a focus on single player experiences from them.
It
And
kind
that-
of sucks in general too, because when you think about like video games before this generation, they were their one-off thing, and like you bought your disc and you played your game, and like that was your video game,
Yeah.
right?
If it sold well, they got a sequel. Like,
Exactly. And now you like Gears 4 is a perfect example. You put in Gears 4, you play Gears 4, but each game is now its own like fucking service. And it's gotta have all these multifaceted parts that involve microtransactions or some sort of skin thing. And like it's no longer a contained effort. It's not like we shipped our game and we're done and maybe we'll put out some DLC. It's like, all right, this game's coming out, so buy your season pass because there's going to be 3 more DLCs you need. You can go and buy your card packs because you're going to want to upgrade your parts because the game never ends. You just keep going and going rather than your game just kind of ending.
Here's the thing though, and this is I talk about so much. I beat this fucking horse to death, but This is the big problem in AAA game development right now is these games are too fucking expensive to make and the price isn't going up to satiate that higher development cost. Like, whereas last generation you had games being made for 20 to 30 million, now you have games costing 80 million to 100 plus million. And the $60 base model isn't supporting them anymore unless you're fucking Call of Duty. Unless you're one of the franchises that can guarantee you're going to sell over 6 million
that
copies,
you're going to make that money back on a $60 price tag.
You have to have these other means of revenue because otherwise that game is just going to be sunk cost. And that's why you have so many microtransactions, shit like that.
And you were saying before, like the $60 price tag, because
I think that has to change.
In hypothetics, if it were to jump up to $70 for a new game, that is going to scare people.
Yeah.
Personally, I would probably be okay with it. I'm like, okay, what's another? If it's a game I really want, because I'm okay with spending $60 for. If I'm buying a game for $60, it means I really want it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to wait till it goes on sale or till it's cheaper.
For sure.
But if I'm buying a game at the $60 price point, it means I really want it. To me, the way I see it is, what's another $10 if I understand why they're doing it?
I think we need to look back to the days of cartridges. So the days of Super Nintendo and N64, where a game could cost anywhere from $50 to $100, depending on the size of the game, the company, the brand, how much time and effort went into the game. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing to have. What if we say we get a full content complete with all the expansions already baked in, CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk in 2 years, but it costs $100, the base game, but there's no expansions or anything because everything is already in there.
I would do like $89.99. And I think it's super telling, and it just clicked in my head, but like when you go on the Xbox store or the PSN store, a lot of these games now are starting to have editions, and they're already $89.
It's essentially that's
The
essentially you buying the
Ubisoft's
gold complete
edition
of
or
the game.
deluxe edition.
Because
or
you buy the
complete
deluxe
edition,
edition day one, so it's like you're guaranteed all the content when it comes out, but you have to give us an extra $20 to $30.
And that's just so crazy because think about it. They're doing that right now.
You're right.
If you want the full game, you pay $90.
But what we're saying is that being the only option.
Yeah.
The only option you get when this game launches is buying it for anywhere from $80 to like $100. I've seen some of these editions go to $120. Like, I get it because it's a $60 game, but then you're also trying to justify another $60 of DLC.
Yeah, but when really that is the complete game.
DLC, like, kind of quote unquote meaning like, hey, this is the complete edition, but we fucking
the DLC.
We can't justify this game.
I mean,
at $60.
Like, I understand budgets are difficult, and sometimes I think some publishers don't understand the actual price that it costs to make some of these things. When you want expensive voice actors, and you want all these really beautiful engines, and you want CG companies to do your cinematics, that they charge.
They understand. They just think people are buying games at the rate they were buying them last generation, which isn't true anymore.
And that's the thing too, is that with the advent of things like Steam sales or even just Microsoft Xbox Live sales, people are waiting for those games to go on sale because people are like, well, why am I going to buy this game day one? I have plenty of games to play already. I can wait 2 months for this game to drop down to 40 and I'll buy it then. Therefore, that company is going to make less money on that purchase to begin with. I mean, granted, if you're buying it digitally, they didn't have to package that specific game up, which costs money, and then they send it out, which costs money. They're just getting that money directly, which I guess is fine in their case. But I think, I think it's not. I wouldn't be surprised if we found out a lot of games. I mean, they kind of already do, where at the end of the game, probably the last couple months before that game hits gold, they decide what slices of the game they're taking off from the retail.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that happens.
Because I can almost, like, there's certain ones that I think work well. Like, when I think of how The Witcher did it, those felt like 90s expansions where, like, you actually got, like, almost a whole other game added into your game.
Yeah,
and
that didn't feel like something that was cut off.
That doesn't feel like that was content that was artificially sliced off.
Even just stick with The Witcher, they did the whole 16 free weeks of free
DLC.
Yeah. Granted, it was all small stuff, but it was still like, hey, thanks for buying it. Here's some new armor to wear, or here's like this.
Here's a couple of side quests.
I think the final one was New Game Plus. Like, that was kind of the thing, was like, now
and like those kinds of things are fine. Again, like extra content when the game comes out, whatever. If you want to give your fans goodies, that's good. That's awesome.
And also CD Projekt Red. Jesus Christ.
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red is also like a rare exception, I feel
Yeah,
like. Nowadays.
They're like one of the darlings of AAA development. they just are the people that they
I feel like
care
they're
a lot
where
about their
Bethesda
fans.
was years ago. I would say
I agree,
before
yeah.
Fallout 4 came out,
Yeah.
where everyone started going, what are you doing?
They're a little eh.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of games that come out, especially AAA games, where you see these big pieces of DLC come out right away, and they obviously, I can even just say it with Civ 6. They have $5 DLCs for that game, and that game's not even 3 months old. They already have $5 premium DLCs that you can tell were just content they just took out when they launched the game. And again, it's hard because I understand like you need money, like they're not cheap to make, but like there's got to be a way around it where it doesn't seem like you're cheating the people out of their price of entry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we should probably move on
Yes.
to the next topic.
We got a little more lively than I thought we were going to there.
Yeah, we had a lot to say though. That's fun.
We're passionate.
Let's move on. There were some release dates announced this week, so I'll run through them. I'll save probably the one we all care about. I mean, not that we don't care about the other ones, but the one I think we all have interested last. First for Dan, Ed Boon announced Injustice 2 is coming out May 16th.
They seem to, I know Mortal Kombat came out in a similar slot. They seem to do well in that spring slot.
Spring is a very good time for fighting games.
Yeah.
A lot of fighting games come out in that time. I think that's because they want to get it pre-Evo.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's why you want to get it in that.
So you rush out your game, you don't build a story, and
Yeah, that's what you like Street Fighter
Yeah.
5. You send out an incomplete game because you want make sure
Well, that was for
everyone's
the
ready
Capcom Cup.
Yeah.
Well, for Cap and for Evo too,
Yeah.
because that even when Evo was out, a lot of the content was still missing when Evo started. So yeah, no, I'm excited. I think Injustice 2 looks bueno.
Yeah.
I
everything say.
I do think that game looks great. I've been impressed with everything I've seen with it so far. I like kind of the costumes they're toying around with for the characters, like how each one has an armored mode. I'm curious to see how that plays out. I wonder if that's going to be like you know how in Mortal Kombat X there are the fighting styles you can pick between
Yes,
the
I
three.
can see them doing that.
Is this game doing something similar?
I
do you
think
know?
they that armor and that costume stuff. I think each piece of the costume has a different attribute that's attached to it.
Okay.
So it
okay.
almost has like an RPG-ish kind of quality. I don't know if that's gonna fly in fighting in tournaments like Evo.
You might have to
You'll just have to use the base character. But I think for fun, like extra modes and
Yeah.
stuff like that, like I think
I
that's
can see it being cool for story stuff.
Yeah, and for stories too. I think for non-competitive things, I think that's a really cool idea.
Second game to get announced was Jesus. Sorry, I just created a new note on accident. Rhyme has officially been re-revealed.
Oh,
we talked
boy.
about it a few weeks ago.
Talked about that a few years ago.
Well, I mean, we talked about the possibility of it coming to being re-revealed for everything. So talked about it last year. It's no longer PS4 exclusive. It's now coming to everything. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Remind me what this one is again?
Rhyme is like the looks like a mix of Ico with Wind
Mist.
Waker.
Ico, Wind Waker.
Oh, I
and
think
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
It's like you're solving the puzzle of this island, and
Yeah,
very
okay.
colorful looking
Mhm.
game. Apparently, it was going through some development problems, and that's what brought Sony to drop it.
Yeah.
And now they found a new publisher. They're bringing it everywhere.
Well, I'm sure that's good for them money wise because it's
Oh,
a bigger
yeah.
market.
Yeah, exactly.
Or was it something crazy like the gameplay that they had shown in those two trailers were basically CG and they didn't really have much
Yeah.
built?
If you watch the new stuff, you can actually tell.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
looks way more like gameplay than what they were showing before. It looks more natural almost
Yeah.
looking. So yeah, that's coming May 27th.
Good. I thought the game looked interesting. Seeing what happened with Sony, but I'm glad it's coming
Yeah,
out.
I'm still interested in it. And then finally, Mass Effect Andromeda was shown
Yep.
off at the NVIDIA CES press conference, and they announced March 21st is the date.
That trailer, I texted you guys about it, but
Did
that,
they fix the faces?
as someone who loves Mass Effect 1 because of the RPG elements, that trailer made me so happy because just seeing him go through those menus and seeing the stats on everything and seeing that there's like an equip burden back again, that made me
Okay.
so happy. I'm shocked. I don't think we had talked about this a little bit. I
Yes.
don't think that game is going to hold that release date. I can easily see that getting pushed to September. I would say maybe June or September, maybe not that far, possibly June, but it would be cool. I would love to see them make that date because I think I want more games to take that kind of Fallout 4 style approach where it's announced close to launch, the date, and then you're there.
My only worry with the game is that they haven't had like a actual presentation of this game.
We've seen gameplay.
No, I mean like
I don't think that's a bad thing.
no, but it's
No press
I
conferences
mean,
or
sure,
anything.
you have every right to be worried.
yeah,
though.
but I mean not that I said after the video game awards when we saw I was like, all right, cool. I don't really want to see anymore. But at the same time, like, it's weird that, because even when Fallout 4 is announced, and then it's just a straight 15-minute demo of breaking down essentially what we saw in the trailer at the NVIDIA thing, except the NVIDIA thing was moving so fucking fast you couldn't follow what the fuck any of it meant.
Okay.
And I'm not saying like I would watch it, but at the same time, like, I also don't want to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna watch any of it.
But like, I feel like I just feel like something.
There's no trust.
Something feels off about it.
Okay.
And the fact that we saw, and like, this is pretty much the order: a game dev video about it, then the CG trailer about it, then the N7 video about it. Which, by the way, none of that gameplay. And then we saw the other almost dev diary thing, where they did show some gameplay.
PS4 Pro thing, right?
Well, no. This is back at E3.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah.
the PS4 Pro thing where they're just kind of jumping until you get to the cutscene. And now you have the Video Game Awards, which was the biggest thing, but even that is all chopped up. And then you get this, which is also chopped up in weird ways. It just feels off.
I think there's only really two schools of thought. It's either they really want it to be like a surprise and they
Yeah.
really want to keep you like guessing. They don't want you to go into it knowing what to
It's possible
expect.
they don't want to reveal too much.
Or they also are covering up the fact that they might have been given a very, very strict deadline by their publisher, by EA. You know, EA
well, you have to
publishes
think
them.
at this point, this game has been in development. We heard about it in 2012.
What's what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
EA, is it that EA was like, this is the time
We
you
need to
have
get this
you
the fuck
need
out.
this game out now. We've given you as many delays as we can give you. You have to put this out now, and they're just trying to gussy it up as much as they possibly
Yeah.
can before they hit that date that they are like.
Yeah.
I think
pretty
they
much-
need to be the gold standard, and they need to hit the date.
Yeah. And
Well,
that's
I'm
why.
not-
And, sorry, real quick. And that's why, like, what you just said, the two options, like, I want to be the, oh yeah, it's coming out. It's going to be like, they don't want to surprise us, but the skeptical side of me is just
It's
like,
always looming
they're-
over, and you
they're-
know
they're
that
up to something.
It's not even the skeptical side; it's the side that is most often correct.
it's the
Yeah.
realism.
Yeah, that's
it's the
true.
I
realist
don't know. I
side.
gotta be honest. Like BioWare, I know this isn't OG BioWare, it's BioWare Austin, but BioWare in general has a good track record. Like Dragon Age came out, and Dragon Age was showing off. Inquisition was even showing off for like 2-3 years before that finally came out, and I felt like Inquisition came out as a very good product. So I'm confident that Mass Effect Andromeda is at the very least going to be a good product, something that I know I'll enjoy because I like that kind of RPG. There's some things I'm concerned about. Just looking at the gameplay, I think some of the HUD stuff is a little intrusive. I'm curious to see how the Nomad is going to control like the Mako stuff.
yeah.
Um.
Apparently, they work with the Need for Speed developers on that one.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Oh boy,
Racing.
FMV.
But
Aaron Paul.
But at the same time, there's a small part of me that's worried. Like this game has clearly been in some kind of development hell.
yeah.
And I don't think we'll find out the full story until some brave person goes to GAF and is like, "Hey, here's what happened." But I want to be excited for it, and I am just going by BioWare's track record. I'm optimistic about
Yeah.
it.
Like I said, I just remember being so mad about the E3 thing when it came, and I was like, "We got another one of these." Granted,
Yeah.
with a little more gameplay in it than before, but it's still just the devs talking. I'm like, why aren't you showing us this game that's supposed to be out in less than a year?
I'm gonna stay on the positive side. I think they really want to keep it close to their chest.
So over
because
under, you guys think this hits a date?
I think it's gonna come out in March.
I think it hits the day too. I don't see it getting pushed
I feel
back.
kind of confident that gets pushed back.
All right, we'll see.
I mean, it's anybody's game at that point.
Yeah, I don't know, because this is the other thing I put in the notes is that this is lines up with the date that was leaked on Amazon months ago. So I'm going with it probably hits it. Whether I think EA may, like you said, EA may be fed up with it. Just a point of like you need to get
You
this
just
the
like
fuck
you
out.
can't.
Like,
You got to
this is-
stop pushing this back.
Let's move on to some Sony news. Sony had their CES conference where they announced a few stats, and then there was some stuff about digital sales. PS4 hit 53 million consoles.
Cool.
They sold about 5.6 million over the holiday.
That's insane.
Yeah. And Uncharted 4 sold 8.7, which
That's
makes it
also
which
insane.
makes it the
that
best-selling Uncharted game,
Uncharted,
like by a
series,
mile too.
a series we always talked about PS3 as being niche because it was a PS3 exclusive, has now presumably sold more than Gears of War 4 and
Now,
Halo 5.
I have a question, and then this is not anywhere a slant to anything. I'm just curious. Didn't they just recently isn't Uncharted 4 a pack-in game now for a lot of them? Like, isn't there an Uncharted 4?
I don't know if they
Yeah,
count
they-
those
yeah,
as sales.
PS4 pack-in.
Look behind you, Uncharted
Okay,
4.
there we go.
Yeah.
So are those sales counted? Is what I'm saying is
For
I don't think they
for-
can't be double counted. I think it could either be a console sale or a.
what I'm saying is it
Yeah.
counted as one sale for Uncharted and one sale for
See,
the
that I don't know.
PS4.
NPD,
I think
know
it's a
doesn't.
PS4 sale. Like that was probably a PS4 sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that's
don't
what I'm.
think-
I just what I'm
I don't
curious.
think it counts the pack.
I didn't know if it was counting both of them. You know what I mean?
No.
Because it's only one game sold.
We also have to remember other pack-in games have also had really high sales because they were pack-in games. Like
Yeah.
Super Mario World was the best-selling game on the Super Nintendo. That's because it was packed into every Super Nintendo.
You know, it's crazy for something that I feel that wasn't talked about a lot during Game of the Year stuff. Uncharted 4 has sold an insane amount. But also, I think the crazier thing is that last generation, we talk about the 2011 thing all the time, where it's like
First
Gears of War will outsell all of Sony's PS3 exclusives. We just had Uncharted, which sold 8.6 million or something around that number. That sold more so far, has sold more than Gears 4 has, and had probably at this point has sold more than Halo 5 has.
True. Yeah,
That's kind of crazy just to see those tables like completely flip. I'm not being like one's better than the other. I just mean like it's crazy to see where the market has gone.
Yeah, exactly. But that's exactly what that is representative of. It's not like they can't. You're taking out a lot of other factors of the like the whole picture of those two things. Like when Gears was doing those numbers, there was more Xboxes than there were PlayStations.
No, that's
like,
what I mean. Like I'm talking in general. I'm talking about the whole thing in general. I mean, like it's crazy to see that table flip where the
there are
core
an insane
audience
amount
is-
of PlayStations
Yeah.
versus that. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally.
And then the other thing was PlayStation revealed most downloaded games of 2016. I thought this was fucking fascinating. Rocket League was number 1
in 2016.
in 2016.
I feel like that's not surprising at all.
The game came out in June of 2015.
They have
Yeah, but
made-
then it jumped to another
And it was
console.
also no.
This is only
on PlayStation.
Oh, only on PlayStation.
That's
They
what
meant
I'm
in
saying.
total, in
Yeah,
totality.
Yeah, like in like of the 20 most downloaded games on PSN for the year of 2016, Rocket League was number 1. A game that was free on PlayStation Plus, and then was still out for 6 months before 2016 even started.
I feel like a lot of that for that game has a lot to do with word of mouth and
Yeah.
also streamers.
Yeah.
That's a big streamer game, and that's a big, it's a game that's fun to watch. So people see that and they see I know it's been on the back in the when it came out, it was like always on the top streamed games on
Yeah.
Twitch. You would see like Hearthstone, Counter-Strike, and then Rocket League. So that's not surprising. I mean, a lot of people seem to be really interested in that, and I think that it's a lot. That game is big with word of mouth.
Yeah, and the other one was Final Fantasy 15, which I think this is good because it came out at the end of the year, ranked number 20 of the top 20. So clearly,
I
it
hope
sold well.
that's a good thing.
No, I think it
'Cause
is.
I know that's kind of high on the
No,
list.
I think it is because for the month of
Low on the
December,
list.
which I'm going to jump to, I think it was either number 1 or 2. Like it was up
Oh,
there
that's good. That's
for
good.
the month of December alone. But out of the top 20 games, The Last Guardian did not even chart in the top 20.
I don't think that's crazy.
I think at that point, Sony knew that wasn't going to light the world
Yeah.
on fire. They just
Yeah.
need to get it out.
That game should have been put to rest years ago.
No, that game, I like that game.
Bury it.
I spoke about it today. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
game.
I know you talked about it.
I don't know if I'll
open
play
my
it
mouth
again, but I
because don't
enjoyed
thi-
it.
It was
yeah.
better off being released than swept under the carpet.
Yeah.
It depends who you ask. Could have been swept under the carpet.
Whatever.
But anyways, that's all for the news this week.
I'm very happy to see Final Fantasy charted on that.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Like
I
I
like
get
that.
that because I know they had some insane expectations for what that game needed to do to recoup its cost, but that makes me confident for the future of Final Fantasy. I know they're supposed to have an event later this month to talk about what they're doing this year.
But yeah, for the 30th
Yeah.
30th anniversary. Yeah. So let's talk about 2017. I asked you guys to come up, 3 games that you're looking forward to. There was some confusion.
You should have done the U pick.
We should. I
I
enjoyed
didn't
that
feel-
last
well-
year. Joe got lazy.
Joe's
It's
like,
okay.
I don't want to put the work
Okay,
in.
let's just get one thing right down. I only did the pick 4 in August leading into the fall.
Okay.
I've done it 2 years in a row
Fine.
that time.
Okay.
I haven't done it
So
in the
that's
beginning
a
of the year.
a
That's a
lack
fall
of
thing.
detail
Yeah.
on our part. Okay.
I just thought, because I was like, oh, do it again. I mean, right now there's not much planned after March or April that has official release dates. So
Okay. You're true.
by the time we hit August, we pretty much know everything in the fall.
Okay.
So I don't know if anyone wants to start, or do you guys
I
just
will
want me to
start.
go?
Oh,
Okay.
I was
I
gonna.
don't-
I was
yeah.
gonna start.
I want
Okay,
to.
so let's start.
Yeah.
We'll all go through the 3 games we're looking forward to first, and then we'll go through some year predictions. So,
Okay.
Tom, what are the 3 games you're most looking forward to coming out this year?
I'm sure we're gonna have a few similar
no,
ones.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel. I
There's
think
gonna be
so.
some overlap.
I mean, a lot of my games are really because there's so much coming out in this first half of the year.
Mhm.
So really, these games are first half of the year games. Like there's so much coming out that I'm excited for that I can't even think about fall or beyond that at this point. But right now, number 1 is Gravity Rush 2, which comes out fucking soon next week.
Yeah, the end of the month, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or no, not even the end of the month. Next week, towards the 18th.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can't wait to play that. I love the first Gravity Rush. I was really blown away by that demo. And if you don't like Gravity Rush, this game isn't gonna like suddenly convert you into a Gravity Rush truther.
Yeah.
But for me, this game is more of what I liked, and then improving on what I didn't like about the Vita games. So being more vibrant, being more colorful. You can definitely see where it benefits from being exclusive to the PS4 and not being held back by the Vita. I can't wait for that game. After that, I'm really excited for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Damn, that comes out soon too.
Yeah, that comes out the end of next month. I think, we all know that game is gonna be. We all know that game.
I basically, PlayStation because of that game. That's
Just like we all knew No Man's Sky was going to be good.
Yeah. Wait, I was on that show.
But yeah,
Just saying.
I mean, everything. I'm sure, like, I'm not the person who has this on my
No,
list,
yeah,
but
I
like
do.
everything we've seen about that game just looks fucking so good. The open world looks incredible. That latest trailer that they showed off, I don't remember where it was at, but there's one scene where she's in like a dark forest, and you see these little dino bugs or these little robo bugs crawling up a tree, and they each have leaves, and it's an amazing looking effect. But by the time I'm going to have this, I'm also going to have my 4K HDR TV. So I
We'll
feel like
see.
I'm really going to get to like experience this game in all its glory. So I really can't wait to play that the end of next month. I think it looks exceptional. And then just give me 1 second. My phone decided it was going to lock up on me. And then after that, the end of March is Gravity
Rush 2
Gravity Rush 2 again.
Gravity Rush Andromeda. No, Mass Effect Andromeda. And we were just talking about this, but I love Mass Effect. And I'm so happy that like after waiting 5 fucking years, we're finally getting a new Mass Effect game. Like I've kind of like contained my hype a little bit because I'm worried. Like I don't want to get too excited and then be disappointment, but I'm so happy we're finally getting another Mass Effect game. And I said before, I don't think it's going to keep that release date, but even the idea that it can stick to that and we could be playing it as soon as March 21st has me very excited. Like I want to see how that ties into the original trilogy. I want to see what new races it introduces. Like, and I'm hoping, like, more than anything, like the thing I love about the Mass Effect trilogy is the characters. Like I'm hoping I get a new cast of characters to kind of fall in love with, because BioWare has always just been so good at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at least for the first half of the year, those are the 3 games for me.
Charlie, what are you looking forward to this year?
hopefully, like everywhere says, it's coming out in Q1 of 2017. Outlast 2
Damn
is
straight.
number 1 on that list. Number 2 is Horizon. And I was like, I got these memorized in my head. And then number 3 is Resident Evil 7.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm
too
so
spooky.
pumped
Charlie's in
that
for a
game.
year of spookiness.
As-
I love horror
A year of
games.
I know.
scares
They
and
are
ghouls.
some of my
I
favorites.
play them, and as I'm playing them, I go, I don't know why I like this so much.
Yeah, right.
And then I leave, I just want more.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go because I have my list from last year still.
Okay.
I wonder if I
My
still have
3
mine.
last year were Far Cry Primal, Outlast 2, and Mankind Divided. So I want to start the 2017 list by saying Outlast 2 is probably the game I'm most looking forward to
That
coming out
comes
this
out
year.
April.
There's no release date.
I have my
It's
game
all-
of the I have my game of the year 2015 on here.
Yeah, no, I still have that stuff.
I have my E3 2015 predictions.
Yeah, so Outlast 2, yeah, as Charlie said, I love that horror element that I
It's
just
so good.
can't
Yeah, that
fucking-
first game is like there's some jank to it, but that first game just is so effective.
Yeah. Ukulele comes out in April. I'm really looking forward
Yeah.
to that. Fucking get that banjo fix that I
Right into your
love.
veins.
yeah. And then number 1, I mean, come on. Destiny 2. Please be
Destiny
out
2
this
is
year.
not coming out this year.
I know.
I think it has to at this point.
Oh man, I would hope so.
I don't think Bungie can like. I think they're so stretched out in terms of making more content for Destiny 1. I think they have to get it out this year.
Yeah, like it would be weird if they went a year without Destiny content, because I feel like that game already like has drop-offs already when major DLCs like stop coming out. So
I can assume like at some point in like March or April they're gonna do like, hey, we're having a Destiny event or
Yeah,
a Destiny
yeah, they'll
live
do
stream,
something
and
like
then
that.
that's when Destiny 2 gets announced. That's when the Game Informer cover story comes
Don't
out.
Spoil
and-
some of my predictions.
Yeah.
Dan, what are you looking forward to this year?
So my what I'm looking forward to is Resident Evil 7
Okay.
during 24th.
Copycat.
My second one is actually not one specific game. It is multiple games coming out in one genre this year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you not understand the fucking rules?
Shut your mouth.
Dan, you can't cheat like this.
Well, I did.
This is why we pay for you to go to school. So you don't have to deal with your shit.
This is why we keep you there. So this is a very big year coming up for fighting games. Because we have Tekken 7, which is finally making its way to the West after 2 years of being in Japan.
Yeah, it's in arcades over there.
Because
right?
it's in arcades. It's been in arcades in Japan since 2015, but they're working on the console version that's going to be cleaned up visually, like so it's not going to look so much like it came out in 2015. And
It's always a great place to start with your video game.
No, everything I've heard about Tekken 7
no,
has been,
like, and it's already been
great.
in Evo. People have already played. There are people in the West that have gotten like versions of it in the West sent to them so they can play it here, even though
And
there's
fucking
nowhere.
beta tested.
And like beta tested here, and they play at Evo. You know, and it's crazy. But
That's cool.
so we have that. We have Injustice, as we talked about, which I'm very excited about. I'm loved Gods Among Us, and I think that this one, their engine that they have, because they're using Unreal, aren't they?
Oh, I have no
in,
idea.
in NetherRealm,
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure MK9 was
The only
Unreal.
injustice is that probably won't run well on PC.
Oh.
Dodom.
Hey!
Or God, if they even cancel the PC version, it's like
Yeah.
that's probably a possibility. So I'm very excited about that. The game looks amazing, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. And the other one is Marvel vs. Capcom. You know,
Oh, yeah.
we have DC.
Yeah.
We have a big DC fighter and a Marvel fighter coming out this year. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. They've already started slowly announcing the characters.
Slowly leaking.
They're slowly. They have the runs. They're slowly leaking
Jesus.
seepage. But yeah. So I'm also very. I mean, the game. They have shown limited gameplay for it so far. But I think that it's been long enough since 3 that I think they'll do a pretty good job at this. As long as they don't pull a Street Fighter 5 and release a half-finished game
I'm
just in
excited
time for
that.
Evo.
Going back to the two-party system or
Yeah. Instead of having 3.
Yeah.
Your team, instead of being 3 people, it's now back to 2, which is the old way. And a lot of people didn't like that about 3. They would rather have had 2 people on your team rather than 3, because 3 kind of complicates things.
It
at
makes
a certain
things
point.
a little too crazy. It's too much going on.
Certain people who are really freaking good at it,
Yeah.
but it's still like it definitely raises the barrier of entry even higher than it already is. So I'm excited for that. Oh, and I have a third one.
'Cause you cheated.
I did cheat. And my third one is Yooka-Laylee, April 11th. I was actually really surprised Tom didn't have that.
Yeah, so was I.
I'm
when
excited.
we were talking about it.
I was like, I wrote that. I'm like, oh, Tom and I will probably end up talking about but yeah. I mean, Yooka-Laylee, made by a lot of former Rare people and very much in the vein of Banjo-Kazooie, being one of my favorite games of all time. I'm very excited to play a traditional collect-a-thon platformer, 3D platformer.
You guys say that like it's a good thing.
I was watching the trailer.
thing.
I was watching trailer for that again today, and it looks like Banjo to a T. I
Oh,
mean,
it's like-
there are things. that
It
just
is
look like they're
it
ripped.
is so like it almost surprises me like that like they wouldn't get like sued or something how similar
Microsoft's
it looks.
working with them too. Like
That's
they're
what I'm saying.
yeah,
So it's
they're
like
oh, sweet.
Microsoft's like, you're fine. Well, even
if
Rare
this game sucks, there is no hope.
for Kickstarter.
Kickstarter
Oh,
games.
Kickstarter is dead.
Like
If
if this game
Yooka-Laylee
fails in
fails-
any way,
Like if it's critically like lambasted, like if they hate it critically and this game sells like shit, like
To be
Kickstarter
fair,
games will
like,
never.
This hasn't had the insane like thing that Mighty Number 9 has had, where it was in development for multiple years with multiple delays. I think this has only been delayed once, and that was out of like a tentative holiday 2016
Yeah.
release. Like this has been pretty on track the whole time.
No, and everything that I've seen about it, it just looks fun. It just looks like pure video game fun, and I think that that's something that in this time, especially in this video game climate, is something we need.
Yeah.
Tom?
Yeah.
Have any predictions for 2017?
Maybe not. Oh, okay. First prediction, pretty obvious. Red Dead Redemption 2 will be the best-selling game of 2017, and will be the second best-selling game this generation behind GTA 5. Rockstar games have the legs. You usually look at something like GTA 5 Online to kind of carry them through like an entire console generation.
Yeah.
Even GTA 4, something less talked about. People played that online mode for like
Up until
years.
GTA 5 came out.
Yeah.
And then they all moved over to GTA 5 Online.
So I think Red Dead 2, that's really going to be the big driving factor. And I think, even looking at NPD this time, 2019, I think we're going to see Red Dead 2 at the top of those charts. Like with maybe GTA still on there trailing behind it.
That'd be fucking insane.
Yeah. And then my second prediction is I think E3 is going to have a way smaller presence this year than it has in previous years. I think we're finally hitting the point where publishers are realizing they don't necessarily need it. They don't need to pay E3. They don't need to pay for that space, and that it might be more prudent just to do their own live streams and have their own events. I still think you're going to have, I think Sony is still going to do like, Sony and Microsoft are still going to have E3 press conferences, but I think from the publishers, I think from, you saw it with EA, but I think even with Bethesda and the other people and Ubisoft, I think you're just going to see them do their own live stream or their own thing, like at a smaller venue to announce these games. Because I think E3, like we've seen in the past couple of years, I love E3, but with all these other live events and so many other revenues for announcing games, like it doesn't necessarily make sense for these publishers to pay for E3 space anymore.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I was listening to the Giant Bomb E3 stuff this year, their podcast, and they were talking about how like the halls just seem emptier this year. So I think you'll definitely, I don't think it'll play such a huge role this year. And that's it for me, really.
Charlie, do you have any?
I have one. There were kind of a few constraints because it revolves around Scorpio.
Okay.
And if it wasn't so early on, I would say that Microsoft would have their own event for it
Prior to E3?
prior to E3. Like maybe even,
Well, what they did with
Like-
the consoles.
Yeah.
yeah, like maybe even like in February. But that is too,
I think
Like,
that's
they
too
can't-
early, yeah.
they can't come out with their full plans in February and then launch it in like early 2018.
Maybe
or
like
something
April
that.
or May.
Yeah. So, and I was going back and forth on whether or not it even happened at E3 or not,
Mhm.
but they come out and it has like full blown VR support. But I couldn't come up with
Who do you
either
think
one.
they'd partner with? Oculus?
I would have to lean that way
Yeah.
because of the Xbox controller
Yeah.
pack-in. And that's like one of the large tent poles of Scorpio is that it is
It's
VR,
compatible.
so if it did have Vive, I would love to predict that they would have full Steam integration and that like any of those games would run, but nah.
No.
So like
that's way too wishful
you-
yeah,
thinking.
Do you
so
think-
if it was Oculus, it would have just a direct line to the Oculus store, and that's how VR games would be sold on console. Like,
Yeah.
Do you think if it is Oculus, do you think it's going to be have an existing Oculus headset, plug and play, or do you think it's going to be a custom Oculus headset designed around the limitations of the Scorpio?
plug and play. Like
Yeah.
that is the only way.
Because if
They had to split that market.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
kind of
Mm.
jump into this because
Because
this is
it would just use USB, and it would be. It's not like it's not like it's Oculus headset 2. It's still the same headset, and so it's not like it's a different tool set.
I'm gonna take because this is literally pretty much what my prediction is. So I'm just gonna.
Well, let's jump into your prediction.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This way we don't come back to me and then we just
Yeah.
restate everything. I think my prediction kind of deals with. I think a little bit before E3. Again, this is prediction. A little bit before E3. I think we're gonna get an announcement. We're gonna get a reveal for Scorpio. We're gonna get an actual title, like what they're actually gonna be calling it. Obviously, they're not gonna stick with Scorpio. That's just a code
I'd
name.
hope so.
I mean,
fucking
Scorpio's
cool name.
kind of a cool name, but
Yeah, I
you
don't
The
know.
whole title is Project Scorpio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so
Project Natal didn't stay
Yeah.
Project Natal. I think we're gonna get a reveal. Like we're gonna see the box. We're gonna see maybe
Better
like
be small.
I think
It'll
it'll
probably
be
be hefty.
I think it'll be
Well,
slim.
Looking at the
size,
PS4 Pro,
slim.
if this thing's more powerful than the PS4 Pro, it's going to be big.
That's not
But
necessarily.
who knows?
true.
I mean, again, part of the. I mean, I'm not saying either way, but I'm saying you can also look at it like again,
have the time.
technology is getting. Look at TVs now. They're much better than TVs were, but they're also.
But they are a lot bigger though.
They're bigger in a certain way.
That fails your
No,
argument.
no. They're bigger in terms of screen, but in terms of like how wide they are and
Sure.
and some of the overall heftiness of it has gone down significantly.
I give Dan an A+ for turning that one around.
Because I've had to lift old big CRTs,
CRTs.
and it's the heaviest fucking thing
You're
in
just
the
lifting up
world.
a giant fucking light bulb.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you get two people, one on each side, and they're pretty light.
Like a 30-pound TV.
And sometimes
Um,
you can just manage it with
Yeah.
one. Just
yeah,
yeah.
barely.
if it's big enough, if it's
Yeah.
just small enough, you can get it by yourself. But anyway, back to the actual what I'm actually
Yes.
trying to talk about, not lifting up TVs. I think that they're going to have a show. I'm torn between they're going to do a reveal and talk about all the features. Now, I'm debating if whether or not they're actually going to do the price at that event or if they're going to wait for E3. Because didn't they kind of do that with the Xbox One? They showed it off, then they did the price and everything
Xbox
later.
One was the
Wasn't it a show in the
name,
winter?
The look. No, it was
And then-
in May.
Oh, okay.
The name, the look, and like the features, and then E3 was the games and the price.
That's what I'm thinking. That's very possible.
Yeah.
They'll do with Scorpio is they want to get you excited for it, because then if they drop the price, then it's like people might be, depending on what the price is, might be less excited about it going into E3. Whereas you can, if it is a bomb that they have to drop, because who knows, I mean, if it's supposed to be better hardware, it's going to be above that $299 price tag.
Yeah.
It's not going to launch at $300. My opinion is that it's going to launch anywhere between $450 and $600 at launch, depending.
600 would be.
That
600
thing
is steep.
DOA at $600.
600 is
Yeah.
steep, but I'm just saying if they could, if they lighten it up with, I don't know, you get a pack-in game with it or something
If
like that.
Scorpio launches at $599, my defense 10 out of 10 times will be go buy a fucking 10 series NVIDIA card.
Yeah, at that
Yeah.
point.
Every time.
But
There's
my thing
no
is,
relenting on
I
that.
think the only way they'd be able to stick it at $599 is with a pack-in game or two
That-
pack-in
that-
games.
and like
Dude,
two
that-
controllers
that thing
and
or-
a 50-inch TV.
Dude, that thing comes out at F400. They have to.
I'm gonna
That's what
say
thinking.
about four. My
Even-
realistic
even-
prediction is my 600 was my high prediction. 4 to
Yeah.
450 is my realistic prediction.
Even the PS4 Pro, like everyone's predicting how much this thing is going to cost when it comes out. That came out 400. That's the price people are comfortable paying for no hardware.
And,
I think that's the max people are comfortable paying for no hardware.
I also think that because they said the Scorpio is going to integrate with the Xbox One, so there's not going to be Scorpio exclusive games.
No, it's going to be Xbox One.
It's just going to be
with
Xbox
powerful
One.
hardware. It's
with-
going to be PS4. It's going to be the same.
but I
shit.
think they're going to definitely show a lot of games going like, oh, well, here's what this game will look like running on Xbox
It is going
One.
to a T. It's going to be the same.
probably gonna be
exact
PS4
thing.
And then
do
it's just
PS4
gonna be like,
Pro does.
and now here's what it looks like running on.
You got
where
your
it's
options.
Super
I'd be
highly
surprised
aliased.
if they do that.
and-
If they even do that, though,
'Cause that might-
why would you show the Xbox One version when you could just show the Scorpio?
Yeah, they're going to
version?
show the Scorpio
Yeah,
features.
every time.
But what I'm saying is being like, well, why buy an Xbox One when you could buy Scorpio?
They're never going to pose that argument. That is
Yeah.
the dumbest
They're going to
thing
say
to do.
because Xbox One is going to be the value machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
going to
true.
be by that point, that's going to be the $250 device or even maybe $200 device, while your Scorpio is your $400 device, your
Yeah.
premium product.
Well, either way, I think that that's not a terrible model. I think that works fine. If you want, you pay the premium price for the premium product. And
Gotta pay the troll toll.
to get into this boy's hole. But no, and my prediction is that just as long as I like what I see, I will probably buy it. And from what they said, there probably will be trade up programs to
There will not be trade up programs.
Not through them.
not
There
through
will-
Microsoft directly,
Through
but through
GameStop,
like
obviously,
GameStop
yeah.
or Best Buy. I can get like $100 towards it trading in
Yeah, but
my.
you could probably get $100 now. It's nothing special, Dan.
Actually, for an Xbox One,
You could probably get
Yeah,
$80.
yeah,
No,
it's
but
about
I mean,
$80.
I- well,
Wait, does your
100
Xbox
is
have
the-
the shiny black plastic on it?
What do you mean the shiny
Like,
black?
the
plastic?
is
day
it
one?
all matte or is it have
well,
the
it's like
shiny
the half
plastic?
and the half. Isn't like the one
Yeah,
half
you're
has
gonna
the
get
shiny?
fucking $30 for that Xbox if you trade it in because they're gonna take a $40 refurb charge if just because.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that's
But
exactly what it is.
my thing is that if you trade it in, I'm not giving an exact thing because this isn't part of my prediction, but just if they do offer like you trade in your Xbox One, you get an extra X amount of dollars towards it. That'll even increase my intent on wanting. But who knows? Maybe I'll come into more money at that point, and I won't really
And you'll
care.
buy a fucking computer.
Well, I just gotta buy a
Stop
graphics
buying
card.
consoles, people.
Damn straight. PC for
I don't
what?
even have one, and I'm still
I
adamant.
can't wait to buy a Nintendo Switch in 2 months and then
Besides
buy
that,
then
though-
buy an
Oh.
Xbox Scorpio at the end of the year.
Oof. No, Switch is fine because those games are never going to come out on anything else. Those aren't Switch games.
Not until next year when the Switch fails horribly. Nintendo is quickly chased out of the console business.
Speaking
and then
of
all,
which,
and then all of those games launch play anywhere.
let me jump into my predictions. I predict Switch.
Switch.
The
Yeah,
Switch.
Switch.
The Switch. The Switch sells 10 million by the end of 2017.
Oh yeah,
9.5 months on the market, and that will put it just under 2 or 3 million.
Well, we have
Under what
those
Wii U
we have those
sold.
GameStop reps saying we don't fucking think we're gonna get enough.
Now, Joe, does your prediction include the amount of months it's going to take for a human to be able to walk into a store and buy one without getting trampled to death?
No, because I think
Because it's going to take years.
I think Nintendo wants to get this thing in people's hands.
No,
No,
no.
Yeah.
No.
they don't.
There's
They
going
want
to
to
be
get it
7
into the-
pre-orders per store.
They want to get it into the hands of the scalpers so that when they do hand 6 Switches out to a local GameStop, people buy it immediately because they don't want to pay $500 to the fucking
I
scalpers.
wholeheartedly believe
It
that.
gets rid of the debate factor in your mind, like, oh, maybe I should pick it up. No, it's like I'm either getting this now or I'm not getting it for 6 months.
That's
That's
it.
how it works. That was the Wii. That was the Wii because
know.
that's what happened to me.
I know. I'm saying
That was the
I
DS
think
for a little bit.
Yeah.
even if they do that strategy, I think it would be implemented smarter so they can sell more.
No.
Yeah.
The smartest way is to have the highest
It's shitty,
possible
but it's smart.
demand.
Yeah.
Nintendo is notorious for making artificial demand. They could make as many Switches as they wanted to and pump them out and make sure every single electronic store and game store is fully
I'm
stocked.
telling you, they get enough out by the end of the year,
I can't
So
wait
they
to.
can-
I'm going to come back to this episode when
So
we
they
are
can-
all right.
so they can come out and be like, "Fuck you guys, we have a successful
I can't wait to-
console handheld."
I can't wait. We're
hyper,
going to
whatever
be
the fuck
talking
it
about
is.
this. The Switch comes out, but we're going to be like, oh, yeah, I went to go pick up my Switch pre-order and I got fucking mugged in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Well, then you guys are going to sketchy places to pick up your Switch.
I go to the GameStop behind the dumpster.
And,
the dumpster is in front of the GameStop.
and I
GameStop is in itself a
I
dump.
want
a
to say
dumpster,
I
so-
want to be allowed to edit myself next week if the Switch presentation is a complete fucking bomb.
Charlie, write down episode 92 on a piece of paper and just keep it
Oh,
somewhere.
boy.
So you'll always know when. No, but like somewhere, like come back to this episode.
So not only next week am I gonna have Gravity Rush 2 in my little hands.
Mhm.
We're gonna know what the Switch is.
Well,
Well, we know what the Switch is. We're gonna know how much money it costs. We're gonna know what launch games are coming out.
We're going to know how many blood child sacrifices we'll need to get one on
to
launch day.
satiate the Lord of the Hunt, Reggie.
And then I have one final prediction,
Okay,
and
go
we
for
can
it.
end the show on this.
Fine.
Destiny 2 is announced in March.
Switch exclusive.
No, coming to Xbox One
Off TV only.
with Scorpio support, PS4 with Pro support. Obviously, I just want to label that because I said Scorpio, so I wanted to
and
make sure.
Switch with peasant support.
Yeah. And coming to PC on September 19th. Along with this announcement, though, the Destiny's collection is coming to PC in May with one final patch that allows older raids to be played for top level gear. And that's kind of their big spring update.
That means nothing to me.
I know that means nothing to you. To me, that
Well, do you
just-
want to start playing?
that actually
Yeah, I
makes
actually
me
kinda
rock
do.
hard.
Yeah.
So
Rock fucking hard.
yeah, so that's my prediction. Destiny 2 announced very
Drop the-
soon,
I could see that.
coming out later this
Drop
year.
the mic.
I think March makes sense for that event. I don't know if they would release a PC port of the first game just because then I feel like that would risk cannibalizing that market.
Tom,
for
I
the
only
second
said that
game.
because I would buy it again
Oh, okay.
and play through
Oh,
it
he'd
for
buy it
a
in a
third
heartbeat.
time. So let's get everything clear. That was mainly just for me.
So I'm not anyone to give you shit about double dipping.
This would be
Yeah.
triple dipping. Xbox One, PS4,
Can I tell you what I did?
PC. Deus Ex, right?
So Deus Ex, I bought that game again for like $10. I'm like, fuck yeah, Deus Ex is good. I'm having a good time playing this again. Beat it once on Xbox One, so I technically consider this my new game plus run.
Oh, okay.
Bought
fucking
myself
sketchy ass.
10 practice kits. Felt kind of good. This is all within the first 2 hours of the game. Bought another 10 practice kits. Felt kind of good. Bought another 10 practice
Oh
kits.
my god! Would you max out your guy?
Felt kind of good. Bought another 10 practice
Oh my
kits.
God.
This sounds like
Felt kind of good.
summer 2015.
$37 in practice
Oh,
kits later.
no.
And,
Oh,
and Adam
you
Jensen.
are the market.
I
Yeah.
am the Adam Jensen.
Tom,
Deus Ex is
You
fully
are the
maxed
reason
out.
why we have
Nothing
microtransactions
gives
in
me
anything.
a problem in this game because I can just stealth pass everything.
Because you
it's
paid.
great.
Oh,
You
man.
paid to
technically-
win.
Technically, I bought the game for $10, like $20 or $10,
And you're
all
just
right?
supporting the developer,
Yeah.
right? You want
Yeah,
more
no,
of
but,
that.
But here's the thing: Deus Ex didn't so well, so it's justified. And also,
Yes,
Oh my
that's
God.
justified,
He's
everybody.
justifying it.
here's the thing: I beat it
What
once on
other shit
Xbox.
excuse do you
without-
have?
I beat it once on Xbox, legitimately. So this is my new game plus run.
Hey Tom, I did a new game plus too, and guess what? I didn't buy no Praxis kits.
Fuck you.
I think
I'm
we
more
need to end
forward-thinking
this.
than you.
Let's wrap up episode 92. Dan, this is your last show for a while. You'll be
Until
back.
the spring. I'll
Yeah.
be back for 1 week only in
Yeah.
the spring.
Yeah, we're gonna take that week off.
Yeah.
Of course you will.
And we'll be back next week talking about all those Switch details.
I'm so excited.